Okay. How's
Yeah,
that?
but it does. Yeah.
Well, now, this is Mo Seeger accepting total responsibility for starting the recording button late, but that would be me, now just wouldn't it? So we're going to turn you now to our opening poet of the evening, who's going to read the third of three poems, The Judge, Bill Strangmeyer.
Okay, this is called Partnership. I know how the psychopaths feel. Those outside the gang are not real. The followers of rules with their plastic painted wooden lives can never see the swirls and scrapes life draws into their lines. The mafias and clans are tools gangs use, those walking blanks. Emotion and affection are coins for the slots within straights' heads, and piling up dollars and slaves is the game the machines let them play. A father's anguish, child's dismay, and lover's desperation are not fit for contemplation in a mind less ornate than a hopper set of squares. You may think that story's fact, but I call it poetry, he sneers. We work for them. They're all around our paths. They worship too. The great god Mammon and his imps control their drafted minds, much like the right-angled skulls of the righteous they so despise. Like the two sides of an old plastic centime piece, they manage the world, and escape from the one and the other might lead to the freedom humanity needs, for the keys to our anger and fear are held in the hands of the magic elite. But don't you go seeking out Wiccas or readers of cards. They are just freed from the fear of the neighborhood uniform's hatred of fashion and fun. The males are deemed manly or cute, the females seductive or frozen or bitch. But that's not the thing, just the colors reflected by the vacuums with feints and with fake. Do you see the problem for those of us sonorous with rich loves and hates who would try to combat stripped down athletes and bulked up soldiers, both defenders of the lie that is the status quo and day to day that most believe is real? A transient sovereign tract some carry under their arms like a magic carpet to fly away to the land of the honest lion and the clean desires where the living are loved, keeps hope so alive that the psychopaths strengthen their war on the world.
Well, that's comforting, Bill. What,
I'm just
what,
continuing our conversation at the beginning of this session.
yeah, well, that was a salvo of observations that I wouldn't disagree with. Tell me, you talk about it, was it the counting up dollars and slaves? Who are the slaves to you?
The working class. And, you know, the poor, those who can't find jobs, and the soldiers are the middle management.
Yo, okay, yeah. Given recent statistics, uh, a lot of people are marginalized. They are economically broke and fearing evictions. And do you know there was a report a couple days ago from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with an accompanying video that showed 1,500 cars lining up early Thanksgiving Day for free food, waiting in automobile lines for up to over 3 hours to get a donation for that. And I just keep hearing how the stock market is so happy over the decision of the election and other things.
Yeah, well, if they close down all the small businesses, the big businesses will do well, will do better, won't they?
Big fish eat little fish. Yeah, unfortunately. Well, thank you, Bill. And we're going to go another round here. So those of you who are listening right now will be able to hear Bill and the other people after we go through this first round. So now I would like to turn it over to our lady from New Jersey who's been publishing piecemeal and book length and a torrent by numbers lately. And so we want to welcome Carrie Radna to read for us and tell us maybe where these poems are going lately.
All right. Greetings from New York City. How's everybody? All right. I have three poems from my new book coming up. It's called In the Blue Hour. It's going to be published in early 2021. So I will let you know how to purchase it and stuff. Either like message me if you're on Facebook, or we could chat later. And we don't have like books yet, but they are coming. They're coming soon. So, and it's going to be published in Neuralia Publications, so you can also check their website, when it's available. I will let you guys know. So.
Yeah, because I'll mention that I follow you and other poets online, Instagram and Facebook, and you've just put out, you continue to put out a large number of poems that do get published online and in other places. And so congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So here's my first poem. In the Sky. If all the lights blew out, could we repair the sky? Fastening the odd velvet to the outer atmosphere, with tacks shaped like stars. It was all ours, like a hairbreadth, like a lone church bell chime. But all alone, I did sew up the bits of invisible clouds with silver thread. And as I rested my head upon your chest or short rest, while the horizon began to bleed orange and red, I woke up in the morning fog, sweet and fragrant berry green. The sheen of the twisted black bark tree blocked the perfect view of me and you, kissed by the sun. Loose, invisible silver threads were hidden in the queue. And the sky, vast and unending, like love should be. Trees growing strong in the green, above the bluest seas. Below the sky, we could fly in our minds and repair the cracks no one else could see. So that's the first poem of the.
Has that other, is I presume that's a significant other you're writing about alongside of?
Yes, it is.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. If all the lights out, could we repair the sky? That sent me into an imaginative reaction.
Yes.
Is your sky broken? Is the sky broken?
Well, that kind of depends. That is a good question. Is the sky broken for now? Can we see what we are able to see?
Okay. That's a real pertinent question. Okay, thank you. And carry on, Carrie.
Yes. Hi. Okay, my second poem is it's a ghazal. It's called Orange.
Okay, now again, speaking to the undereducated here, what is a ghazal?
It is a form of poetry which is written in couplets, and the first line of each couplet is ended with the same word. This one is orange. So I was watching Eternal's let's see what's called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind a couple of years ago. Wonderful movie, amazing. Yeah. So I was watching when Jim Carrey's character was seeing Kate Winslet's character. Her name was Clementine on the shore for the very first time, and she was wearing this orange sweatshirt. I thought, oh, and then like 15 minutes later, I wrote this ghazal. I mean, it just poured out of me. So this is what this is. It's called Orange. You never liked the color orange. Even those mod hooded sweatshirts the cool kids converged upon. The sky is now colored orange. Long days without regrets is what we could ever strive to. But fear could be called orange by most people. You hated to show any fear. Your closed heart could have been colored orange. Once I thought you could cure my loneliness like vitamin C. See, I can't rhyme with orange. What a cruel joke for all poets, seeing sunshine with only one eye open, while cutting wedges out of oranges, lemons, and limes, trying to dress up another drink for happy hour. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Applause meter.
thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a girlfriend whose favorite color was orange.
Really?
Oh yeah, she wore her favorite birthday of all time. She told me was I got her a piece of clothing that had a lot of orange in it. She said it was her favorite birthday present of all time.
Cool.
Lots of people in this protest on the bridge yesterday were flying orange flags.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
They were Hare Krishnas, right?
and I
Proof
believe
of reincarnation, Hare Krishna.
I believe there are some Buddhist orders that
Yeah.
do not dress in red, but do dress in orange.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
that color gets around.
Yeah.
And can we hear Three's a Charm, Carrie?
Alrighty. This was published recently in Poet Bond 10. And this one is called Keep Breathing. Keep breathing. I will keep breathing, even when caught in the dregs, near the old things, gathering dust that are safe from the rain, and the remaining rudiments who chew their cud silently. They all commute on the morning rush train for many miles. The smiles of the haggard causes me alarm when he instructs when and where to step down and take out my umbrella. The ginger-haired girls dyed their hair green, remembering spring. Rain falls down like in spring, but now it's fall. And the cold, cold, cold is beginning to blow forth, unrelenting. Notes not made for most humans now hum in my brain. I know what I'm doing and who I am, but for a while I swim in, or I am, an imaginary sea crashing against the rocky street. Thank you.
That was a nice outline. An imaginary sea crashing against the rocky streets.
Mm,
Yeah, that's nice. Very nice. Thank
thank
you,
you.
Carrie. And promote your book.
Absolutely.
Get everyone to buy your book and not just read it free online. Yeah, sell 1,000,000. Hey,
All right.
okay, thank you. And now we want to go to the other side of the continent from New York to San Francisco with David Wilson. Hello and good evening, David.
Well, hello. Hello, Bo. Hi, everybody. So let's start with a cover from one of my favorite all-time poets, the ancient curmudgeon Ezra Pound. This is Ancient Music. Winter is a coomin' in. Lud sing, goddamn. Raineth drop and staineth slop, and how the wind doth ram. Sing, goddamn. Skiddeth bus and sloppeth us. An ague hath my ham. Freezeth river, turneth liver. Damn you, sing, goddamn. Goddamn, goddamn, 'tis why I am, goddamn. So gainst the winter's balm, sing, goddamn, damn, sing, goddamn, sing, goddamn, sing, goddamn, damn.
All right, who said poets can't be humorous? I like
Good
your
old Uncle Ez.
I like your You're neo-Cartesian in there. I sing, that's who I am. All right.
This
That's,
so that was winter. I'm going to take something from the summer. This is just an excerpt from a larger poem of mine. I kind of like one thing I kind of like about long poems. Some you can pull up things out of them and use them in different contexts and stuff.
okay.
This is called Shadow Boxes. Shadow boxes in the night, stars bright, torn free, my own soul, here, there, in shadow boxes everywhere. Lost in darkness encircled, breaking to both left and right, knowing a great fright. You had better rearrange, strange hipster in the summer night. Goodbye to you, old shadow boxes, laughing I will be.
Now, for our younger members of the audience, you said the word hipster, which today denotes a young person with a certain culture and style.
Indeed.
And you might recall for us the original definition and classification of the hipster.
It goes very far back with jazz musicians, I guess, and
Right.
back in the 40s, probably, maybe even the 30s.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, hippie derives from that. But,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And but
Because
yeah, and that's exactly. It's another one of those words that has gotten sort of strangely twisted around.
it's been transformed, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I started hearing the word hipster when I was reading beat literature, particularly
Right.
Kerouac, writing about the hipsters, and
Mhm.
because he had evolved that from what black musicians were calling hip
Exactly.
cats. Man, are
Hip
you a
cat.
hip cat? And then
Right.
the mostly white beats like, wow, hip cat. It sounds so cool. Hipster, yeah,
Yep. It's
that's
interesting
cool.
how these words develop, or even like the word beatnik, which Herb Caen, of course, because Kerouac was talking about, being beat as in either flat broke or in a beatific state,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
then he came up with beatnik because the Russians had just put up Sputnik at the same time, so everybody
Yeah,
had
and
Nick in there.
it was meant as pejorative against the
Right,
beats. That San
exactly.
Francisco Examiner columnist, beatnik, Russian,
Yeah,
pejorative, and
yeah,
the beats totally disliked the word beatnik,
they
and
did.
in those days used to take quite an offense when
That's
someone
right.
addressed them as a beatnik or wrote about them as beatniks.
I have to
They were
say, Herb Caen, I think, kind of loosened up as time went by and he got older. Perhaps
he he finally cut. Follow
he
me,
cut
I'm right
he
behind you.
cut loose a little bit. Yeah,
My favorite thing of Herb Cain's was, I can't say that Ronald Reagan's term as governor was well done, but it was brown on both sides.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, can you give us threes of charm there, David
All
Wilson?
right. I'm gonna read something, a real old piece that I'd never read before. I don't think I've shared this one before. And
Okay.
this is about youthful debauchery in the far north of Northern California. Me and my best friend I was growing up with, who's dead now. And the only problem with this poem is we didn't have any girls with us that weekend. But this is called "Wasted Face" to Dan James, remembering fun, sports, and amusement at the ranch. One heat of spring, alcohol users hang out. Wine drank cool, pot burned hot. Heat of spring, hotter, and we're pissed. 2, in the bunkhouse, reading the Iliad, feeling burnt out. We eat acid, and soon Dan peaks. A joint in the car, and I'm beyond there. I'm there. 3, up Highway 5, approaching Oregon border. We pull off at Hilt, last place in California where you can buy Coors beer. Fearing imaginary cops. 4, the gigantic trailer isn't very groovy. We're fed food, but Ross hates niggers, and I can't handle it. Asked about our herb garden, we run out the door yelling, "Run away!" 5, we drink to recover. Jack Daniels, backed with Coke. Eternity guzzle, breathe fire. 6, past midnight, all made clear at last. Creative energies are high. I write down. That really happened exactly like all of it's true.
I'll tell you what's also going to happen. When people hear you using the N-word,
I'm going to get in fucking trouble. I know, and it'll be taken out of context. And you know what? I know, and I it's one reason I hesitated. But it's really weird. That's what that fucker said. They're tripping on acid, and there's this redneck, ranting and raving, saying that. But yeah, I know. And actually, I've been doing a reading of Adventures of Tom Sawyer via streaming. And I get to that section, and I've done read other Twain before in the past, and he uses that word, and I've used it. I got to the section in Tom Sawyer where they were using that word, and I self-censored in that instance, and I don't like it. I don't like having to self-censor and that having forbidden words. But on the other side, I'm very sensitive to all my Black friends and brothers and sisters who are sensitive, or anybody. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll get away with using it at that one time in that context.
I imagine if you were reading before an in-person live audience, you might risk a lot of blowback, maybe even some a personal attack. What do you think?
I think I might, yeah. And again, it's like, it's weird. It's and I never really, that was so strange when I was reading and came upon the word and then decided to self-censor and then had to editorialize within the context of reading that, how uncomfortable it was, for me to do that, to not read the historically accurate text that Sam Clemens put down,
Right.
But not wanting to, I don't want to offend anybody, of course, or make anybody uncomfortable either. So I don't know. It's an interesting dilemma.
It's strange because until relatively very recently, the word was used so much.
Exactly. But now it's like, yeah, you can get in a lot of trouble even uttering it one time, and just regardless of context. So
yeah, what do you think, Carrie? Have you an opinion?
I think the word has become like a stride of pride, and if you are African American. But I think it's inappropriate to say if you're not African American. But that's my personal.
Well, that was one reason I decided to take a chance with reading that poem. and I mean, it's not really a very flattering poem or, behavior that I would, the whole poem that I would recommend now.
Yeah, but
But
in the poem, you kind of left after, the guy said what he said, and I thought, okay, that's cool. That's cool. So.
yeah, we did leave. And anyways, I felt that if there was ever a group that it would be safe to read it in, this was the group. So thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Reminds me of an incident. We were driving along, a bunch of us in a car. We passed a group of black kids, and one of the guys leaned out the window and yelled, "Spear chucker." So we stopped the car and kicked him out and left him there. We gave him a head start, but
Right.
Yeah. It is a conundrum, in my opinion, because I respect the censorship of that word by white people on behalf of the collective pride of black people. So I duly respect that. Now, the conundrum for me is similar, that if I was reading Sam Clemens, better yet, I wrote a play a while ago that takes place in a jazz club that is a restaurant service, a bar, restaurant, jazz club. And one of the protagonists in the play is a dishwasher who's a poet and is black and is very frustrated that he's rendered to be a dishwasher while the jazz cats are playing upstairs. And he uses the N word to describe himself in a rhyming rap, which he uses to retort his white boss. Now, when the word became taboo to use and my play got read, I was confronted with that. And I went, no, that's how Lamont speaks. Keep it in there. And, and I think if he were to say, if my character in that were to say, and the N word takes a licking and keeps on ticking, just like Timex watch. No, ain't nobody gonna believe that my character said, and the N word is still kicking, still taking a licking. And also I'm reminded of Lenny Bruce, who came out and used that word, and the equivalent of that word for the Jews, kike. Him being
he used them all.
Him being wop, spec, kike. Him being Jewish, he got a pass on that in through the ages because he himself is Jewish.
Bill Burr has a thing about that. He says when somebody says the N word, the real word pops into his head. He knows
right.
He knows what the word is.
You know what the word is.
His point is that it's stupid because everybody knows what the word really is.
Yeah, and I realize that too. Everybody knows. At the same time, I respect the right of a group that's been demoralized and often terrorized by hearing that word thrown against them since it was used 400 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
So I respect that as a very legitimate protest against that word. Yeah. At the same time, to be artificial about it, as Bill said, everybody knows what the character really said in that line or in that literature.
Right.
So it is a conundrum. And I guess the greatest concern, it's just too bad that racist vitriol is still thrown around so frequently in our society.
And then it beyond that, even like there's forbidden words in language, and then we've also got the thing we're coming up against with forbidden uses of cultural material. If you're not from that culture or whatever, you're accused of
cultural appropriation.
It's like, aren't we all one human culture, and don't we learn and cross-pollinate and stuff like that?
Or describing women as body parts, I don't like that either.
Right.
Yeah, like that.
Or anybody. Women that definitely get the brunt of that, but
Well, speaking of men as body parts, is pretty well accepted.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. You can call somebody a dickhead. Don't be a dick. He's a
Oh, I
dickhead.
see.
Right.
Because uh,
They do a lot actually.
because the interesting thing here is, generally speaking, as a generalization, white male heterosexuals are fair game to be slandered and abused in a general sense with language,
Yeah, somebody being
right?
left.
You can say you're a dickhead, or like in movies, if you call a black person boy, you're really insulting them. But
Right.
in popular culture, it's, hey, white boy, what do you want? So you see, there's these, whatever opinion one has, there's these startling contradictions. And I'm not casting a judgment, but as a word person and a sensitive person, I see how they exist.
Hmm.
I don't want to be called a boy, especially in my
Somebody
old age.
Anybody can be an asshole, though, right?
Exactly.
before
So
the
we've got,
election, before the election, there was a political discussion, and this woman's Bernie Sanders came up, and she said, "Well, he's an old white male, but I guess he's okay." And I thought if she had mentioned his sexuality, she would have hit the bigots' home run. Huh?
Right.
Ageism, racism, sexism, and
But also that he's Jewish.
yeah, yeah,
Get that in there
yeah,
too.
yeah. Why not? Why
That's
not?
yeah,
the discussion I had with my mother.
As
I
long
don't
as we're
like his
down,
mannerisms.
as long as we're downgrading men, yeah, let's go do it.
yeah. The accumulation of bigotries in our country, at least over the centuries, and which is continuing full blast into the present era, has really twisted a lot of us in a knot. As to say, you can pride Lenny Bruce for throwing all that out and
Yeah.
embarrassing straight WASP America for its hidden hypocrisies.
Right.
At the same time, if you were to repeat Lenny Bruce today, you're liable to get lynched. So it
In
is
trouble.
a very interesting turn of the screw. But here
Well,
on
you guys
Angora,
got to hear Wasted Face for the only time it'll ever be read, probably. So, thanks.
one thing we can rest assured of is we do not tolerate bigots on Angora Poets. So
No, we do not.
whatever the confusion might be with listeners or among ourselves, we can be sure that we're not promoting it. So
Certainly not.
there we go. Well, I'm the last one up. I'm the next one up in this round, and I didn't know what I was going to read tonight, which is it happens a lot with me. So, given what we talked about before we went online, and what I've heard since we've been online, I pulled out three poems almost at random. And here's one real quickie. It's simply called Rebel. I'm a rebel rock and rollin' to the count of rock of ages, to the beat of Congo drummers, to a tune of Irish sorrows, wailing with the Jews for the blues in Mississippi, and step with all the dancers on a riff of jazz in G.
Mm.
So there's my
Oh,
rap poem. And now here's another one. These are called jazz poems because I performed them on stage with jazz ensembles. And this is called Slipping Out of L7. And since we were talking hipster talk earlier, does anyone remember what L7 used to connote? Bill's got it. If you put an L and a 7, what do you get?
A square.
A square, baby. So I borrowed from the old beat vernacular. Uh, okay, slipping out of L7. At 3 years old, I chose to rise, turned a handle on a door, a corner on a block, and I walked to the world. I looked at life. I had been preoccupied. Trains, boats, cars, planes, designs, dreams, plans, man, plans, maps stamped on soles of my shoes. How to, where go, it's at, about doing it, damn. For 30 and 3, I have stepped to rhythmic ticks of time, though not a tune I label mine, tune borrowed, broke, and blue. Today I put a hold on big round face of majestic clock, gaze upon its face and ponder my time, my tune, finally to admit I don't know the yin and yang of it. Big round clock chimes. Take five, son, and then some. The mainspring, main thing you dig for. Internal, simple, a clean baseline. I smile, calm, quiet. I'm a man sprung on parole. Not doing time, just taking time. Not doing time, just taking time. Shooby doo doo wah wah.
Hmm. You
Okay.
can hear the music in that
Yeah.
all the way through, man.
Yeah, with a bass player and a
Hmm.
drummer behind that. Uh,
Sure.
we
Sure.
really enjoyed doing that. Okay, so given the fact that we talked about earlier tonight, actually, some of the importance we can see in ourselves as poets, contributing to the larger population, to the larger society. I was inspired to write this, and it's called My Word. And this is a dedication to all poets who have a motivation to contribute beyond just their own self needs. I give you my word, and I seek no place among you. Take comfort as I offer none. Comfort is the sleep of dull dreams. I share you nightmares. I suffer from radio fuck at 4 a.m. going through my head. It's not safe here on an honest night. Safety is for the complacent. Here we take sanctuary. Fail to witness those drowning in the empty vessels of themselves. I come to comfort the disturbed, to disturb the comforted. Listen to the poet. You have nothing to fear but the truth itself. Lies, they sit with the many. We must look behind, see the long shadows of our past. Dirty saints, bloody angels on my best day. Step beside yourself. Go out in the rain. Get wet with what is. I am not your entertainer, not there for your art opening, not your minstrel show. Hear the poet who would defy the self proclaimed high priest, who will ask, where are the intellectuals? Where, when all hell breaks loose, hiding in their velvet academies? Hear the poet who would reveal these dirty secrets. The poet will stand before you and defy your slavers and declare your rightful destiny. Be the poet, keep the beat on the pulse of life. You know, that's it. Okay. Okay, okay. So good. Well, it's been nice. Why don't we take a minute and prepare yourselves to read for us again? Okay.
I'm sorry, Mo. I have to take off. I get up early tomorrow, as usual.
Uh, well, somebody has to go to work, and it might as well you be you, Billy.
Yeah, yeah. Night, everybody.
All right.
You.
See you later, Bill.
Now before you get away from us, you got to read us at least one poem.
Um, okay.
It'll help you sleep better. Maybe it'll help us sleep better,
Well,
or not.
how about if I read one more, since we're recording now, one of the first ones I read. How would that
Uh,
be?
it's your call, Bill.
Okay.
Great.
I don't know where to go now. I have a slow computer. Here it is. Okay. This is called apodosis, which is the then part of an if-then sentence. Apodosis. We agreed to keep the night a beacon in our lives that loss could never dim nor anger ever touch. The gauge was given hand to hand and kissed by each. The force of blood within our minds induced us to believe. The force we felt was basic and impressed us on the bed. The primal song we sang duet was carved into the walls. The clangor and the joyful tune in concert rang like bells. Our faces glowed with joyful smiles at all the lust we had. Years go by, the past is rhymed or rusted, gilded, turned to gold. The gain or loss of things held dear can change the once played tales. Love turns to hate, indifference, mere fondness, or even need recalled. Sincerity once held so dear should still remain in weakness or in zeal. To say I love you has a meaning now so different from what once we told, but still remains as golden as the night that passion flowed from deepest well. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I have a question.
Yeah.
To say I love you has a different meaning than once was. Can you briefly tell us what you mean by that?
Have you ever become a longtime friend of a lover that is no longer a lover?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's about that.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I still love her, but it's different now.
All right. Okay. Now, we missed your second poem in the first round due to the absence of recording. So if you wish to enter it now, feel free to do so.
Okay, okay. Where did it go? Okay. Partnership. Oh no, I read that one. I read that. I got that one recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, da, da, da. Okay, and don't screw it up. They don't know the little kids and hopefully don't care, at least the way that I did, with fear instead of hair. They'll tell of the right of way and where your place must be, but never give you sunny days. They'll leave you out at sea. So children, keep your eyes out. Don't take your parents as your peers. Not sure they know what it's about. They used to, but it's been so many years. Oh, keep your fists up, feet apart. Not all your peers are friends. You have to listen to your heart. Watch what the plot intends. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And I hope you get a good night's sleep. And
I need to. I have to finish up a class.
okay. Well, none of the kids are pushing Adderall in your classroom.
They're not kids. I don't teach kids. They're adults.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's say sleepy, sleepy dreams, good
Good
dreams.
night, Bill.
Keep dreams.
Now it's time to say goodbye.
Night, everybody. Thank you.
Okay.
Night.
See you
Thank
next
you
week,
all.
Billy. Okay.
Okay.
Name.
Okay. So now, uh, so now, let's invite Carrie. Let's invite Carrie to give us a couple poems, please.
All right. Okay. I'll do something like a little bit more highbrow. This is my only real highbrow poem. And I'll do something completely different. Right. This one's called Pathos. At the end of the life of each ancient Greek, they only asked one question: did he have passion? Pathos, the word for passion, is now roughly translated as sorrow. Many wars and shifts in reasoning may have dulled or shifted the seasoning of the first original eros, separated from erotica, enthusiasm, even simmering the odd ducks who crave to sit upon the great thinkers' laps, reading their words loud to a captive audience. But accents are often changed to get ahead, books hidden, family names anglicized, words authored by those only known by their initials, holy writings favored over romances, family duties lie waiting. People love the wrong ones. Passion becomes sorrow. My love is covered in gaffer tape of pathos, shifting between one extreme to the other, caught in mid-suspension, barely breathing. My passion, I keep it hidden when the sorrows come creeping, finally letting it out of its cage in the tender moments before sleeping.
Well, I think, I don't know what was so highbrow about that. That was a very
Eh,
solid poem.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
know that.
Well, let's do something a little bit less highbrow.
Your call.
Yeah, hold on.
Take a minute.
Wait just a minute.
2 minutes, please, Miss Randa. 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you.
You're
Hold
on stage.
All right, come on. See, this is what happens. I mean, it's just like you pick something and then it just like falls out of your hand, and it's like, come on, where are you?
Well, that's an occupational hazard of being a poet, isn't it?
I
Every one of
know,
us, every one of us have dropped a page, lost a page.
right?
Occupational hazard.
Exactly.
Keeps up your union dues.
Come on. I just had it. Yeah, talk to mommy yourself.
Yes, indeed.
Mm.
Mm.
Oh, jeez. Okay, hold on.
We can do that.
Yeah,
Although the suspense is growing.
I know,
suspense
it's
is good.
killing you. It's killing me too.
Isn't that the thing? If I drop a page or can't find a poem, by the time I retrieve it to read it, then internally, like, oh wow, man, I just upped the bar of expectations. This poem,
Yeah.
it better fucking land.
I
Mhm.
know. Oh, God. Well, what is it?
That's in your favor, having so much material that you can lose your
Right.
stuff within it.
Exactly.
That was going to be. It indicates that that you as a writer have a nice collection of work.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. Found it. All right.
Da-da-da-da. Drum rolls,
All right.
drum rolls.
Okay. Morning twilight. Stockholm to Vaxholm, June 1994. Hangovers strike deep in the land of the midnight sun. The sun never actually sets there in midsummer. There remains a perpetual twilight lasting a few months. Oh, sleepers, awake. The bars close at 3 a.m. A sliver of silver sky points to the nearest McDonald's. Their burgers are not completely beef. I have no beef about it. We all need to sober up. And this dude didn't kiss me, one of my cousin's friends. Why didn't he kiss me? Why didn't I kiss him? Why am I such a chicken shit even while traveling? Yeah, who needs him? As the car sped on the road back to Vaxholm, I saw a pond heavy with misty clouds as if it existed on another world. The sun shone at 4 a.m. It wore a 9 a.m. cloak lined with river grass. So far away from home, I was happy with a throbbing head.
Wow. That's really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can certainly understand that. I think we've all been there one way or the
Yeah, college, traveling.
other.
And the dilemma of kissing cousins.
I know.
Mhm.
Gibbs is so cute, but he just didn't want to kiss me.
Mhm.
Stupid.
Cool. All right, Mr. Wilson,
Yeah. Hang on a
can
second.
you find yourself among that stack of papers and files?
I'm going to see if I can. And actually, a second. Sorry.
Okay.
Just getting my thing set up here. Here we are.
All right.
There we are. I'm going to risk reading from the screen.
Go.
Okay.
So in a couple of days on Tuesday, we will have reached the 40th anniversary of the assassination of John Lennon. And I wrote 2 poems at that time, and I'm going to read them for you now.
Okay.
The night John Lennon died, shedding tears for a man I never knew. Blood is blood and karma is karma. Your words expressed choice. I grew to the sound of your voice. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles. The dreamer is dead. Tonight was very dark and cold. I had to work late. A friend called a little after 8. I thought he was telling a joke. And now, the punchline. John Lennon was just shot dead. Some joke. I ain't laughing. Is John playing a joke on us? Is John sitting back and laughing? We closed up the store. The news was traveling fast. Emotion crackled every voice. Have you heard? John Lennon was murdered tonight. No. Pain. Anger. Disbelief. Driving home on the radio, all I heard were Beatles tunes, and tears spilled out at a stoplight. How irrational. Shedding tears for a man I never knew? No, never met, not never knew. John, we all knew you quite well, and we loved you. I always felt a special closeness. You turned 20 the day I was born. You turned 40 the day I turned 20. I wonder how you celebrated those occasions. Now shot dead in New York City at the end of 1980 by a lone Hawaiian lunatic, by a man who expressed his will with a gun. Blood is blood, and karma is karma, and death is death. And all the world has lost a very loving older brother, and all the world has every reason to cry. So then the Sunday following the murder, Yoko put out a request for 10 minutes of silence in John's memory, and all the radio stations went to dead air for that 10 minutes. It was very, very moving. And I wrote this: silence for John Lennon. There is no silence in a sunlit room. There are voices that come unannounced from voices long unheard. At the moment of tranquil despair, there are eyes that mirror infinite love. There are thoughts that are the key to immortality. There are tears that flow like spring torrents, sobbings like tornadoes, cryings like hurricanes. There is silence shared and savored. There is aloneness and quietness. There is a moment of lucidity gone as soon as you become aware of it. There are many distractions. There are many paradoxes. There are many hidden places hitherto unexplained. There is much to be said for sitting in a seat of silence, awaiting the moment I can't remember, but can remember.
Well,
Wow.
I have a predictable question to ask both of
Yes,
you. Do you remember where you were when you got the news?
I do. I described it in the poem there. Yeah, I was working.
Mhm.
I worked in this department store. I was a stock clerk,
Okay.
and one of my friends, coworker, he called up to the loading dock there, and he had heard the news on, as many people did, when Howard Cosell announced it on Monday Night Football. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, apparently Cosell prefaced the announcement by saying, you know, as much as a win or loss matters to either team, we must never forget that this is only a football game.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, that was
Anyways,
good on Cosell's part. How about you, Carrie? Do you remember where you were?
I was a little younger. I was 8 years old,
Hmm.
but I remember coming home from school and it was snowing, which was kind of unusual in Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma, and people were literally crying in the street.
yeah.
They're right by their cars and just sobbing, weeping. It was just so palpable. I still remember it.
I
And
remember. Oh,
and
sorry.
I ran to my mom and say what happened. She said John Lennon just died, and I knew who John Lennon was because they fed me like a nutrient amount of Beatles growing up.
Yeah.
They still do.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I just recall my dad saying to me at the time that how it seemed like every each generation had some figure like that who, you know, would die a tragic death like that. He said for him, his generation, it was John Kennedy. You know,
Hmm.
right.
mine,
And
John Lennon.
and for some it was James Dean.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay. I remember I was painting my bedroom wall, simply doing that with FM radio on, and then it was announced that he was dead, and I just like in mid stroke of a roller going up and down a wall, I just stopped and talked to the guy that was sharing my house, and we just remained stunned for a long time, uttering infantile expressions like, "No, can't believe it. No,
Right.
tell me it's not true." Okay, my next question is, what's your favorite Lennon song, David?
Oh, you ask a tough. I don't think I could pick just one. There's so many that are just brilliant, you know.
Okay.
Uh, but from the Beatles period, like Strawberry Fields, I Am the Walrus, you know, the later pretty psychedelic kind of stuff. I like that. A lot of his stuff he did subsequent after that was, you know, really good too. You know,
Okay. How
it's all
about you,
worth listening.
Carrie? Do you have a
Karma,
favorite? Do you have a
Instant
favorite John Lennon song?
I think Instant Karma always
That's a
springs.
good one. Excellent song.
Yeah.
You know, I still quote from that to this day.
Okay.
And depends on your
And
mood, you know. Working Class Hero, there's a
yeah,
great
right.
anthem.
Yeah,
And,
that's a good one too.
and then he shocked the world by doing "Power to the People."
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You hear
I
this
love
quote,
Mind
white boy.
Games too.
Yeah. Now my favorite song is "Mind Games"
Yeah,
It's a great.
love
Oh yeah, yeah, love it, love it.
you
Yep.
know
because
that
Mind
it
for.
Games.
speaks about him and speaks about me.
And
Mm-hmm.
that whole record is really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the whole record.
It is. There is a video recording of him at piano singing that song.
So
So
another curious thing about this commemoration of the death, he's now he will have been dead for as long as he was alive. So
Wow.
Wow, that dates me.
I know, I know, I know.
Well, I remember how like a pilgrimage and a shrine when I went to Strawberry Field, that small place in Central Park on the
Mm-hmm.
west side at West 71st, 72nd Street.
72nd Street.
And you
I
just
know.
go
I know
right in
very
there.
well. I
Yeah.
know well.
I was there 2 years ago and it was packed again by people. So there we go. But if I got to hear Imagine one more goddamn time,
There will be no peace on earth. Is that what you're saying,
I mean, sometimes you can wear out a good thing. And I don't mean Lennon,
Yeah.
the pop radio community. But yeah, okay. Well, good. Now I'm going to read a poem here. I'm just going to read one poem, I believe, here. And I'm going to tell you a little background. This is a season poem. It is a Christmas poem coming from this agnostic myself, Um, years ago, I was at a wine and cheese party with a group of activists, political peacenik activists. And the Catholics in the crowd were into liberation theology, which is an idea that we are all equal and Jesus was a peasant and taken off the high stool of veneration by the Vatican. Okay, good enough. Um, and I think deservedly so, whether one believes in the godship of Jesus or not, the things that survive what he's alleged to have said are good stuff. Which is to say, I didn't hear him ever say, "Go conquer your neighbors. Don't allow the others into the ranks. Treat your brethren as you would treat me." So okay, so here I am at this wine and cheese party, and I'm filling my face at this table full of finger foods, and next to me is this nun who's a participant in liberation theology. Her name is Becky Newland. And so we were talking about the high rate of unemployment and the misery suffered by the collapse of the steel industry in Pittsburgh and the absence of aid given to those overnight laid off, jobless steelworkers, and how it collapsed large working community and businesses associated with them and the steel industry. Things are really bad, and Ronald Reagan would be king. So anyway, me and Becky were talking, not so cheerfully, about the situation, and we knew we were on the back leg. We were losing. Reagan was on a roll, and there wasn't any effective pushback against him. The sheeple were just standing up for a guy they could have a beer with, a guy that was in the club, and we wasn't invited. Okay, so I said to her, "What shall we do?" And she said, "What should we do, Mo? What should we do?" So I wrote this poem, and then I gave it to Becky, and she photocopied it and handed it out to her Catholic school classes. And then they read it and handed it out to other Catholic school classes. I did write this in mid-December, and it got popular among the Catholic school system with mostly lay teachers, teaching there, handing it out and saying, "Here, children, read this. What do you think?" And so the Bishop of Pittsburgh got wind of it and then forbade the teachers to distribute this poem any longer. So I knew I must have done something right. And so here is the nature of this poem. It's simply called Ask. I'll ask Santa Claus, you ask God. Come late December, a blanket of snow needs to fall soft and quiet upon the jagged quilt of our land, that a fresh wind may sweep clean old maples and pines to cool our busy heads and tempers, that we may look, listen, in curiosity, babes in ourselves. I'll ask Santa Claus, you ask God, to set one star apart, brilliant, its shimmer stirring waves of hope, of faith across a nighttime sky. for all to claim. To a nighttime drifter who would cradle a fallen sparrow in the cups of his hands, feeding his fellow creature from the milk of his heart. This being purpose, this being meaning. I'll ask Santa Claus, you ask God, to make up small pleasures and magic gifts for an orphan and multiply this child's vision, shaping in his dreams, that he may lend generously to every child in need of laughter. If I ask Santa Claus and you ask God, do you think they might turn with the bend of a wide maple and tall pine and blow upon the winds to give direction as the cold night sky soothes the pain of a drifter lost, a sparrow fallen, brighten the hollow eyes of our needy neighbors and orphan children? Jesus, seeing the same, rooted routed the money lenders, turning to the hungry, we shall have loaves and fishes. Pray you, you do these deeds in spirit, in acts. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And the emperor sent a soldier for the priests to bury, the intellectuals to burn, for the children to witness. I'll ask Santa Claus and you ask God. We're not asking for much. A fresh white blanket of snow, soft and wet upon the ashes, a lone star shining to fire the hearts of men. Peace settles, all is calm, all is bright. Waken.
Wow.
Wow,
Very
that's
magical.
awesome. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's an excellent poem.
Coming from a blaspheming heretic like me, I'm glad.
Yeah, I don't know if that's, I
Shocking.
don't think maybe I'd be giving that to Sunday school kids, maybe, but it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was quite popular
Yeah,
among
yeah.
the
Until
lay
they
teachers
caught up with you. Until the
until the
hierarchy
bishop
found
heard
out.
about it. It was the bishop. So,
Yeah,
so I
the
knew I'd done
bishop, right.
something right, you know.
But
But
anybody lower than a bishop thought it was cool.
well, I didn't get all the. I can't claim to know all the reactions. I just got reported
No, I'm sure
these
that
reactions from lay
beautiful.
teachers
Yeah.
who were spreading the poem around first in that one school and then spreading it around to other lay teachers in other schools.
And and
And
not
they
not only that, you could obviously you knew your stuff. You knew the material that you were.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because I took biblical stories to heart very
Right.
seriously, and a lot of them were very inspiring. And later, when I would drop the notion of the omnipotent guy in the sky, I
Yeah.
would still not throw out the good deeds of men and women of faith.
No.
From
No.
so you don't throw them out. Francis of Assisi, who fed the
No.
poor
No.
against the direction of his elders,
Who- That's who my city's named after.
and Baruch Spinoza, who told his fellow Jews to get out of the dark temples and walk among men again to spread the light, and then he was persecuted. So be be smart, be wise to remember the wise things said by people of faith, and
Absolutely.
not just the Dalai Lama. And there were people in the West who have done that as well. And so
Yeah.
that's how I feel about that. I don't feel like a hypocrite or anything like that. Yeah, so, yeah, that's how that works.
Because as Lenny Bruce said, Catholicism is kind of like Howard Johnson's, and you can apply the formula to the local geography.
Go ahead, Lenny. Well, there's a good story about Lenny. He and Candy, or whatever her name was, went down to Florida because they were broke and needed to hustle up some money quickly. So good old Lenny got into a scheme. He convinced a tailor that he was a priest, and then convinced this tailor to tailor him a priest outfit, a genuine priest outfit. because tailors were not about to do that. But Lenny convinced this tailor he was indeed a priest. So then he gets a priest outfit and he starts knocking on doors in this South Florida neighborhood. It was high scale. He said if he's going to make some money, he's going to ask people who have money. So he knocked on doors and he said that he was a listening, comforting priest. And so he targeted elderly, widowed women who were lonely. And many of them did invite him in, and they shared their feelings and their sorrows and their hopes with Lenny. And he was such a good listener that he became in demand in the community, highly in demand by Catholics, Protestants, and Jews. And he was then asking, as he did, for donations, and he received donations. So he started paying the rent and feeding, he and his girlfriend. And then, as he was going along quite well doing that, somebody found out, somebody in the diocese found out that he was a phony, an imposter, and a fraud. And so they reported it to the police, and then that got to the news, and Lenny was arrested and put in a local police, what do you call the word in English again? A little police compound and police station. There we go. I've been in France a long time ago. Okay, so he got put in a local police station, and there are photographs of these women coming out, these mostly elderly women, coming to the police station with placards saying free Father so-and-so. When they were told, do you know he was never a priest? Do you know he's a Jew? And they went, I don't care. He made me feel good. And they actually had a militant demonstration to free Lenny. This is true. This can be documented. So as a result of that, the charges were reduced greatly. He was released. And he would write about that in How to Talk Dirty and Influence People, which is a great book, by the way.
Right.
Where he said, I started digging Jesus, man. Moses and Jesus. He talks about that on stage and in his books. Moses and Jesus, they were my two heroes. No conflict with me. They were both good people. Moses led the people out of bondage, and Jesus felt a heartthrob for all humanity. So he said, so they might have called me a fraud, but I know what kind of Jesus I was acting in the name of. And so that's how he would recall that. So that's what happened with him.
That's a good story. That's a good Lenny story.
And it's recounted in How to Talk Dirty and Influence People.
Great title of a book.
So, all right. So with that in mind, I think we've had, there we go. I think we've had a nice full little poetry reading tonight with the four of us.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you all. And I just want to thank you all. And like I say, when there's a normally larger crowd here, everybody, thank everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Thank you,
David.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mo. And we'll see you next time, okay?
See you next time. Wellness.
All right.
Okay,
Wellness.
bye for now.
Stay safe.
You too.
Safe.